Welcome to the All the Hats We Wear podcast. This show will teach you the time management skills you need to live your life like it's a masterpiece. You're going to learn a completely unique and innovative approach to managing your crazy busy life. I'm a musician, so you're going to learn a musician's creative and intuitive system for productivity and work-life balance. I believe the key to a fulfilling life is to manage all the roles you play, those hats you wear, and when you do this, you'll be more joyful, productive, and fulfilled in all areas of life. I'm a life coach, productivity expert, and your host, Scott Snow. Well, howdy there. I love the word howdy. I don't think people use it enough. Today's episode is titled Big, Bold, and Bodacious Brainstorming. I think brainstorming is one of the most powerful things we can do for our creativity, for getting ideas out there, getting the momentum up, getting the energy up. I figured I would walk you through an actual brainstorming session that I did. And I was out driving around. I started getting ideas and I got in flow. I got the ideas flowing. I got the momentum going. So I want to share that process with you. So I was driving along and all of a sudden I had an idea. I drove by a big company building and I started wondering, it's too bad I couldn't just tweet the CEO of that huge company for All the Hats We Wear workshop or training for productivity. And this idea of reaching right out to the top instead of having to appeal to the hundreds of people that are below the CEO in the organizational chart and have this concentrated message. So I started thinking about that. And that was the original spark of my idea. Although that didn't go very far. That led me immediately to something totally different, which is the beauty of brainstorming and the reason why you have to follow its crazy path. Have faith in the system. Because the next idea I had was about activities for kids. Now, I'm a parent, and I started to think, sometimes activities and organizations for kids, they're run well, they're profitable, of course. But sometimes I wonder if they're really in it for the kids' benefit or if they're in it for their own benefit. Now, of course, every organization and every business has to make a profit. They have to make money. What if I had a support group for teens that would be really focused on all of these things I talk about, identifying your roles and having a mission and having goals and managing your projects and all of this very valuable stuff? So we wouldn't be focused on any one sport, of course, or any activity. The support group would be focused on all of these self-development type of things. And I think, when I really think just to myself, I say, this is a lot more important than any of those one individual activities that they're probably never going to do after they're out of high school. Now, of course, there's a lot of benefits, to activities. You've got friends and you get good at an activity. But I guess I'm focused on when you have an activity that is so much the kid's life and it's all about it, and then it just ends. And it's sort of that I look back, in hindsight and go, well, what was all that for, really? So I started to think about a support group that I could offer. Now, my company wouldn't have a vested interest in my ego or my company's ego or success, like bringing home a championship trophy or banners to hang up. It's not about that. The focus would be interaction and fostering friendships, building one another up, being a model for what's possible. The kids' benefit would be the primary goal and not those trophies and banners and recognition and being the top group in the region. Sort of that kind of ego-based wins. I wouldn't drain the kids and families and then kind of toss them to the side when they're too old to give me more money. I could be a positive force for people aged 10 to 110. Like this approach of your roles and work-life balance and meaning and being aligned, all that can last until you're 110 years old. Or I don't know what the oldest, maybe it's 114 is the oldest person in the world. These are all the ideas that I came up with. And one core concept that connects everything is this idea of you have you as a person as a role in the center, like let's say the very center, and then you have like lines that move outward from the center, like the sun in the middle, and then all those lines outward are all your different roles. But you always start from being you as a person before you're all these other things, before you're a brother or sister or partner or teacher, engineer, writer. Before you're all those other things to other people, you're a person, you're a human being. So that is the center of this whole brainstorming. Now, getting back to the weekly support group, this would be, it could be weekly. Then I started to think, well, maybe monthly, quarterly, annual retreats. Maybe the vibe would be kind of like a youth retreat, positive, like a party almost atmosphere, very encouraging, uplifting, or maybe like a conference vibe for adults. Celebration. These are all the words that were just coming to me. Positive, Tony Robbins, unleash the power within type of vibe, solution focused. You might have, you would have different groups for kids and adults and teens. And then I started to think, well, now I need a flow chart for someone that expresses interest in this support group. You would do like a take-in, intro information you would get from the person, and then you would focus more on the roles and goals and passions, hobbies, and interests, brainstorming and mini mission statements, and the purpose and projects on their plate, and a planning system, accountability, journaling, accountability partners, maybe group projects. And then I said, well, what are some of the models for this kind of idea? And I thought any self-development support group. I guess there's a Ben Franklin time management type of group that people meet. The Landmark School is another big one that have immersive, involved, weekend-long courses. Network of experts that could be available to refer clients to, like the main role categories: financial, relationships, mental health, technical, music therapy, art therapy, family, entrepreneurial skills. You have featured presenters and speakers. It could be like a book club where you look forward to getting together, or like a Stephen Covey group, Tony Robbins group. A big one is AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. They have a wonderfully successful format to their groups. It's on posters in the room that the meeting occurs. In my internship, I worked at Westboro State Psychiatric Hospital, and they always had AA meetings going, and very important. I really have a lot of respect for that. You could have it on Zoom, a Zoom support group, meet regularly. AA does this as well, that you can get your meeting in wherever you are in the world. Just log onto your phone. So that's pretty cool. Maybe there could be certifications for group facilitators for my support group. Maybe it's a mastermind format. Have a workbook like AA that people can follow and fill in their responses to assignments and questions. Have questions to ask, like book study type of questions. Maybe you have a group format on a poster in the meeting room, like I said, with AA. Then I started to go, I have all these dark influences too, like Scientology and cult type of things, NXIVM. And this, thinking about those cult groups, they do have some things that they have going on. They're very good at motivating their folks, although for the wrong reasons and in the wrong ways. So I have to find a way to get the motivation, but flip it on its side to make it a positive and not be manipulative or dangerous at all. The total opposite. Flip it for good. Like in the Halloween movie Hostel, everybody in the society has that tattoo, that bloodhound tattoo on their arm they have to get. I just started to think about all these things, like what helps you be committed to a group, like at a really deep level. And then like all the cult figures that I've read about, Jim Jones and L. Ron Hubbard. And so really trying to take all their negativity and switch it to be positive. This is good sometimes thinking about the evil side, because then you kind of set the parameters and you focus really on the light. And the goal would be to create a masterpiece life by blending and nurturing roles. And also you could transition your roles throughout the day with intention and purpose. Would be a great thing. Focus on how decisions made by my company, all the hats we wear, are in alignment with the greater good for the customers. Unlike some kids organizations where they want you to pay hundreds of dollars for all their outfits and warm-up outfits and uniforms, and thousands for travel, and you're going to Florida all the time, and you're going to California for nationals. I mean, it gets a little crazy. And not forgetting the value of competition or the values of pursuing big goals like a championship, but done in a different way. The group would be a safe and positive icebreaker for kids. It would allow introverts to shine. Equanimity would be throughout the goal of the group and baked into the format. And people would learn and apply social skills and networking that would lead them to lifetime rewards and relationships. People would adopt a be of service mentality. For example, the role type that I have of giving and receiving. And that you don't have to know yourself deeply. You don't have to know what you're going to do with your life, but you're learning an approach and a system that can get you there. So you're practicing doing that all the time. But it doesn't matter if you really have found it, because really we never find it, right? And could this be a nonprofit organization? And I recently read the E-Myth book from Michael Gerber. So I started to think about, what about the nitwits? How would I make it so that I don't have toxic people as employees or group facilitators, staffing and hires? How do I keep the bad apples away? How do I deal with toxic people that might try to monopolize groups? That would have to be baked into the system, like the E-Myth would talk about, have all that written out, the protocol. And maybe all the hats we wear process and program itself could make for a good filter for bad apples and toxic people. I love that idea. Having them go through my system first. Now you really got to go through that filter and make sure you're a good person, hopefully. And the act of being very transparent as an organization leader, as the founder and CEO, always acting from a pure heart, up and down the company. How do I set that into motion with the design of the whole program? And which steps do I have to take as that architect and designer of this self-development business? So just like what I just said. So all of these ideas came up, in probably a half hour of brainstorming, and you got to learn to ride the wave when you get that momentum. Just go with it. So that was a little sneak peek of a brainstorming session for my support group. So that was my brainstorming session. Visit allthehatswewear.com for more information on how we can help you and your team be more productive and have better work-life balance. We offer coaching, trainings, and workshops that'll empower you to be more joyful, productive, and fulfilled in all areas of life. Visit allthehatswewear.com.